Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. So I've been following this news of CNN. Clarissa, this journalist, her name is Clarissa Ward, I believe, and I've been following this news and her story, her reporting for the last several days. And I think a lot of us are following her news, her reporting. I want to make some comment here because wallahi, the way they are presenting Islam to the rest of the world is something very, very intertwined with the malign aspect of their version of Islam. And this is what they want the whole world to know, that Islam is really not a good religion. It is oppressive, and subhanAllah, I was waiting for somebody to talk about it. So I found this video on Islam channel, so I wanted to share it with you. So let's take a listen at this video, inshallah, and we'll make some comments.
Then correspondent Clarissa Ward has been on the ground reporting from the front lines in Afghanistan. As some have applauded her bravery, there's also been talk about her attire. One day after the Taliban's takeover, Ward wore a hijab and full body covering, an abaya, to report from Kabul. But previously, Ward has not worn the hijab while reporting in Afghanistan. People on Twitter are disputing the wardrobe change. They're wondering if it's because of Taliban control or for dramatization. Well, to be clear, Clarissa Ward later tweeted that some of the memes were unfair, that she had no hijab on the day before because she was inside of a compound, but she was out on the streets in front of the Taliban and therefore had to wear this, and that she's always done that. But this isn't about Clarissa Ward. This is about the way in which the hijab is being used as a political tool, first to demonize Islam, to make Islam look more oppressive and repressive than any other religion or culture in the world. It's also being used as a tool to justify American imperialism.
One thing I have noticed, dear brothers and sisters, it is true that Clarissa Ward, she was not really wearing hijab, and all of a sudden the whole world is paying so much attention to her is because she is a Westerner, a white woman. Now she's in a Muslim country among all this group, all these people, Taliban in Afghanistan, and all of a sudden you see her struggling to talk to someone. She's struggling to find her answer. She's going here and there. It looks like she is being pushed around by men. And obviously when I say men, I mean, the whole world thing, it is the Taliban. The point here is that she is now fighting. Something is wrong, and she is amazed. She's surprised, like she is worried what will happen to the country. On top of that, when she donned that hijab on her, it definitely shows that these news channels, especially CNN, they are trying to portray, and they are doing it all the time. لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَاللَّهُ مُتِمُّ نُورِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. They're trying to put out the light of Allah Azza wa Jal with their tongue. They continuously talk about how bad the situation is. You will never see, wallahi, you will never see a good thing happening in Afghanistan at the moment. All of the news, anything that comes on the news is bad. So this guy, this reporter, he pointed out it very clearly that this is a propaganda. They're trying to justify their imperialism, the US imperialism, and they are going to places with excuses, using their tongue, try to put out the light of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Clarissa Ward, she contributed to it by wearing this hijab really for no reason. Like, if you are so worried, if you're so scared, why don't you send a man? Wallahi, why don't you send a man? I mean, like, this is a country that you think is a very, very bad place. Why you push your woman reporter to go and report for you? Why you don't send someone who can actually handle the pressure? Why you don't send a man, someone who can, who has experience and who is going to go out and meet people and talk to them without any fear? Because at the end of the day, women, they are vulnerable than men. Let's put it that way. Especially in a country where you have this government changing, this transformation is happening. You are in the middle of a transformation of government taking over, new government. You are sending a woman to report? Wallahi, they have a purpose. Wallahi, they have a purpose. And this is exactly what CNN wanted to accomplish. And this is exactly what they did. Let's take a listen more.
There has been a consistent narrative from the West, particularly these United States since 9/11, to suggest that the reason we're invading countries, the reason we're plundering, the reason we're bombing, the reason we're exploiting is to save the women. Look at what they have to wear on their heads. They have no agency. They have no freedom. And we're going to fix that right now. One, it's dishonest and disingenuous because there are women in Saudi Arabia who are being exploited. There are women in Saudi Arabia who are being denied human rights, and we say nothing. Why? Because we want oil and weapons.
Okay, no, not only that. He pointed out about Saudi Arabia. Like, not only Saudi Arabia, okay, let's forget about Saudi Arabia. Let's forget about UAE. Let's forget about all the Muslim countries. If you really care about the Muslims, you know what you should do? You should report what is happening in France. Wallahi, their Muslim women are being targeted every single day. They are being told what to wear, what not to wear, what they can do, what they cannot do. Even if someone says something to promote modesty, even if someone says something to promote what Islamic values are in the masjid, not in the government building or in the parliament, in the masjid, this French government, they have problem. They're picking on them and they're fighting them, they're banning them, they're kind of like, you know, all the time obviously excoriating them, but they are very, very proactive. They're very, very proactive to find out these people, and they're going after this woman and telling them that this is not acceptable. And not only that, dear my sisters, this is not just, you know, your mouthpiece. It is also about putting them behind bars. They are arresting women. I mean, women under 18 years old. If you wear hijab, you will be arrested, you will be fined, you will be harassed, you will be in jail. So this kind of stoking of Islamophobia is happening wide open in France, and they have no care. They do not ever report those stories, women, Muslim women going through this suffering and misery in France. But wallahi, when something happens in a country like Afghanistan, because they are trying to implement, you know, Islamic law, now they have a big problem. Wow, wait a second, women are being arrested for not wearing burqa. Well, why don't you look at France at the same time? What's wrong with you? Well, everything is wrong about that. Wallahi, this is a clear hypocrisy from these countries, especially from this mainstream media. Let's take a listen.
Somehow, when it comes to Afghanistan, we suddenly get outraged. We suddenly have morals and ethics. America doesn't have feelings, it has interests. And right now, it has an interest in making you believe that their imperial theft and plunder is part of an attempt of white men to save brown women from brown men. And it's all a complete lie. Do not buy into the theatrics of hijab and burqas and khimars and all of that stuff. No. This is about good old-fashioned colonialism.
This is so true, wallahi, this is so true. And my sisters, I want to make mention about a ayat before I finish here. And this ayat is so true. So true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ لِيَسُدُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَسَيُنْفِقُونَهَا ثُمَّ تَكُونُ عَلَيْهِمْ حَسْرَةً ثُمَّ يُغْلَبُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, the إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُم, the kufr, the disbelievers, they will spend money to prevent people from the path of Allah, so that people will not be inclined to Islam. The main reason they're spending so much money, they are using their tongue, they are using their resources all the time, and they're being so biased, you know, in their reporting, is because they want to put out the light of Allah, and they want to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them what will be the consequence of this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that this will be a hasra. All of the money they're spending, you know, to stop Islam, all the effort that they're making, wallahi, at the end of the day, this is something they will regret. And they're regretting. I mean, they are spending, they have a, you know, CNN, BBC, all this news channel, they're spending money. They are after something that is really not existing. They are trying their best to portray Islam as something very, very bad. On the other hand, see the results. There are thousands of people are becoming Muslim. So it is really not serving their purposes. It is actually doing the exact opposite. It is backfiring on them. So they will spend money. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِيَسُدُّوا أَمْوَالَهُمْ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُنْفِقُونَ لِيَسُدُّوا أَمْوَالَهُمْ. They will spend money. There is no doubt about that. And they will continue to spend. And Allah Azza wa Jal will make all of this go in vain. And at the end of the day, they will be summa yughlabun. Allah, they will be overcome. Allah will hold them to account in the day of judgment. So everything that is happening, wallahi, this is very, very biased. Every time you see any report, you know, I know that a lot of you are on social media, on Facebook. If you see any report on CNN, BBC, all of this nonsense, garbage places, make sure you verify the news, and make sure that you are very aware that these news channels, they do not only present Islam in a bad way through their tongue, but also they will convince you by showing you other things. Subconsciously, you will start to believe their story. They will go to places like this journalist, Clarissa Ward. She was walking around. Why you are walking around in a place like Kabul? Well, it can mean two things. Number one is whatever you're reporting, the bad things, is a lie, because there's nothing bad happening, everything is good. This is why we are walking around. Or number two reason is that you are portraying Islam in a bad way by telling people and showing people stuff that doesn't even exist. Wallahi, these things do not even exist. So either way, we have to verify news. We have to find out what is happening. And of course, Islam is the fastest growing religion. There is nothing wrong with this religion. We do not have to find out what is wrong with the religion. We have to find out what is wrong with these people. Wallahi, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.